nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sharing the liquor.
6 o'clock test.
Can I borrow yours for just a second so I just remember what it is? Okay, so roll call. All right. Okay, and do you need that paper back? Or you can write on that? That's kind of efficient. Exactly. Okay. All right, Bruce Blattner,
Present.
Darlene. Present. Jerry Bonifusco.
Here.
Castle, I always call it Casserly, I'm
It's
sorry,
okay.
Casey. And by the way, thank you so much for your whole family, for the parade.
Oh,
That was
so
wonderful.
fun.
That was so much
It
fun.
was Corey's father.
It's like, I know her. Marie, we know is absent. Mike?
Present.
Thank you. Johanna?
Here.
Jimmy?
Here.
Thank you. Danielle is off because she's here. Pat? Here. Dave? Myself? Everyone? Okay. All right, that's official. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January meeting?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we have Bruce and Johanna. Okay. All right, update, Mr. Hellman.
So we're going to have actually 3 updates. We're going to make them quick. So every meeting I'll have an update. Lewis will have an update on the programs, and Deb will have an update on the library resources and programs for children and programs with the school.
I usually forget.
Hope everybody's okay with that. We're going to do that every month. In terms of my update, I'd like to talk about facilities and strategic planning. In terms of facilities, the windows, as you saw the email that I sent to everyone, we're being told the beginning of April. We have a meeting in about a week, pre-conference, to talk about, how we're going to organize everything in terms of the windows. I know I've told you before, the idea is to go kind of one window at a time and hope that we can get one done in a day. The good news with it being late is we won't be dealing with as much bad weather. Let's hope, right? Cold weather. In terms of, I know some of you were frustrated in terms of how long this has taken, and that they, when the engineers called the contractors and the contractors called Pella, there were times where we had to call multiple times to get an answer from them, but it is what it is at this point, and I'm just trusting that they will be here shortly, and both the contractor and the engineer feel confident based on their conversations with Pella. So I'm hoping that we can have nice windows. We actually had plastic over one window here that blew off today because of the wind. I had DPW looking at it, so I think it's a sign that,
It was a plexiglass, not
yeah, not the
actual
actual
window.
with the
It was a
plexiglass.
plexiglass.
All of a sudden we heard a crash.
Yeah.
What?
So I said that I would come back to you with a plan in terms of how we can get out to the public other than our patrons, other than,
With the windows.
Yes, sir.
The delays are associated with fabrication, right?
I'm sorry?
The delays have been associated with fabrication, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then you mentioned an April date. Is that when they expect to get the windows? So we were looking at a May, second week of May start?
I was told that the beginning of April, first week of April, for all the windows, rather than coming in.
April 1st.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I was told that it's usually a month after that.
Yeah, so second week of May.
Yeah,
Oh.
yes, sir. I'm hoping everybody here would want to come when I think it's going to be pretty impressive taking those large windows out. I mean, I'm sure Mike knows how that works, but I've never seen anything like that, so
You gotta
I'm looking
videotape
forward,
it.
to that. Anything else on the windows? Yes, sir.
On what you said about the windows being taken out, can you maybe email us when you get a definite date?
Yes,
You know,
yeah, definitely
yeah, so
will.
that,
First
I'm
day.
not around during the day, but
Yep.
maybe I can break off and see
Yep.
See the birth,
history in the making.
birth of the new windows.
History in the making.
out their video.
History in the making.
Yeah,
I'll
It should be
let me read
historic.
video.
Yeah, it should
I,
be.
when I started in 11, as the superintendent, I remember you were already talking about being frustrated that I was at 11 wanting windows.
It's a
So
long
it's
time.
been-
We went
yeah.
through how many administrators?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, happy, I wish it would have happened sooner, I did tell you I would get it done in a year, and I didn't, I apologize, but at least it's happening, so. In terms of strategic planning, I went to the town and asked what type of mailings they've done in the past to all of the residents, talked to a few political organizations and how they did certain things with registered voters and whatnot. The cost for it's about 3,000 homes is what the town is telling me, and if we just did a card to all 3,000, we're talking about probably about $3,000, maybe a little bit more than that. And then when you look at the percentage of responses that you get, it's extremely low. I don't think that that's, and especially where you're gonna have people that are not here until the summertime, the percentage of homes, so it's actually, the percentage compared to other towns I've looked into, I think it would be even lower. I personally think that we should extend the time to get data. We should find when there are events, when there are a lot of Belmar residents, we are taking responses from Lake Como, but we're concentrating on Belmar and the patrons. Now the patrons that are outside of the town, we have their emails, you know, but that we can continuously talk to them when they're at events and things like that, when they're checking out books, you know, continuously sending out emails. But my concern was, how do we get to the other residents that we don't have emails to, or that don't come to the library? You know, I'm just kind of opening it up for discussion. Do you think it's worth $3,000 to $4,000 for postcards that you get, I've been told anywhere from, you know, 1% to 5% response rate if you're looking for some type of response. I could, that's what I've been told, so.
I could, give a little information on that. Being on the first aid squad and the fire department, when we sent out, you know, for our fund drive, you're right, you know, as far as, we had the same situation with summer residents as such, and getting, you know, even the people that had the boats down there, which doesn't affect us. But, yeah, it's expensive, but, and the percentage of returns was low, although over the years we picked up. You know, first aid now is dissolved with the fire department, because I'm on that committee with the fund drive and stuff, so it has picked up, you know, substantially. But you're right there with the summer homes, summer residents and stuff like that. We could be.
Can we go to some of the events that have a lot of families?
Yeah.
Like the Easter egg hunt is this weekend. I think there's a skate park fundraiser is end of the month. And a couple like just a
Well, we
QR
have quite a
code. I
few
don't
that
know.
are on the
Yeah, we
event
could have the
roster.
sheets, and
QR
we could make
code,
sure and
talk to
walk around
people.
and hand them out.
Mhm.
The problem is, it still doesn't get to the people that are not, you know,
Not-
That's the
but
hard part, that are-
I don't know, would they be responding anyway? I'm pretty, it looks great that we're sending out the postcard, that we're trying our best to get everyone's opinion. That's the good thing. The bad thing is that it's expensive to get a very small response, and I'm asking, is it worth it to spend that money to show that we're trying to get to everyone?
I don't think it is.
I was going to say, I don't think it is at all. You
It
could-
pays for a lot of man hours that we could put somebody out doing something else that could be more actively engaging, because it just sends it and gets thrown away.
Right,
trash.
and it's a one and done in a sense, it's not like ongoing either, where you could build up to that.
Right.
It's not worth it.
When
Mail me something, I'm
Get
not
the
gonna see it
payback.
either.
Yeah.
When you factor in that to also go to these events, a lot of times there's gonna be some staff members going, so the payroll involved to cover, to go to these events, to hand out the flyers and speak on it, you know, that would be an added expense on top of the 3,000. You're better off not spending
Instead of the
3,000.
3,000.
And yeah, it's better, that's better use of the money to do that.
You talked about contacting some of the other organizations in town and finding out about how they reach people. Was there anybody who was willing to, or had a mailing going out that we could piggyback on and work with?
No, I didn't ask that question. In terms of the town, if there's something going out, I actually did talk to Kelly, is there something going out soon?
Yeah.
That we could stick in there? And she said no, but I could ask again. I could talk to her again, maybe I could talk to John, and I don't know, Jerry, if you know of anything that's going out.
Even if it's just a comment on the newsletter that comes out.
Why don't you just do door hangers
Well,
and
that's
let
what I
people
was just
walk
gonna
and put them
mention.
on?
Almost
I
like
did it for 3
campaigning.
years, it can be done. It takes,
We've walked a lot,
you
yeah.
can just,
Yeah.
just get them printed, just put them on, and you hit every door.
And there's only the expense of the printing at that point, rather than any postage, and you know that it gets to every house.
Everybody ready to get their steps in?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story, which I know is a little side note, but I know, like, years ago, we had a mail lady who unfortunately was, I'll just say mauled. And so I ran a GoFundMe for her because I knew that she was gonna be out of work for a time period. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone on her route was going to be getting the notice, so I wasn't affecting anyone else, just her route. I will tell you, it took 3 days to do her route, just mentioning that, 3 days for me to do her route. And it's
It's very
because it was
good.
stairs, it's
Yeah.
because there's so many houses in this area
Right.
that have several steps to go up, several steps to go down. So for me, it took 3 days. She did it in a day, I don't know how, but I'd be willing to walk and do my route at least.
Okay, so instead of waiting for the next meeting, I'll get a price on door hangers, what it would look like, and I'll send it out to everybody by email. Does that sound good? And we're gonna do a virtual vote kind of idea, and if you could also talk to some other organizations that might be willing to help us with large groups, because I do know, when it's with the school, it's easy to you have so many parents. I'm sorry.
Put this flyer up on our local Facebook groups. You'll get almost everyone. I'll do it.
Okay, great.
And we have
Yeah.
3 groups too.
Yeah,
Yes.
At least 3.
yeah, they're already up on those groups.
Yeah, and we have our Facebook, and
Yeah.
we use yours
Yeah.
as well, yeah.
That's where I got it.
Okay,
But as it gets closer,
Yeah.
great,
yeah.
okay, all right. Does everybody agree with that? Yes? Sure. Okay.
Is there anything that, sorry for interrupting, Jerry, is there anything that could be put on the town website about it?
Oh, yeah,
Is
absolutely.
it on there yet or no?
Well, we have a link to the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
got a
have
link to
links
it,
here.
yeah, John has a link to it, so.
Yeah.
What about the call, is that, do you want that just for emergencies, like the
Yeah, we
email?
moved away from making calls about,
Yeah, what about
Christmas tree is up and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
okay. And the email, when you send out emails, would that be possible, or is that, again, you're kind of trying to keep it to emergency?
Well, that's usually through Nixle that they send the emails out to.
Okay,
Yeah.
Or a text message.
I don't know that we have, I'd have to find out about the text message.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's all generally with the emergency,
Yeah.
about notifications.
Weather alerts.
yeah.
I mean, we can add it to our newsletter at the school as well. and-
I think the
Yeah, we do
school
a
is
monthly-
probably one of the best
Yeah.
places to do
Sure.
outreach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I did
our
call the
local
principal at
schools.
St. Rose
Mhm.
as well, she said she'd get back to me, so, okay. But we have 50 responses already to the survey, we only have a couple that responded to the email. We thought there might be someone that wants to kind of write us a note, so we, created that Belmar Library Listeners Gmail. We've only received a few there, but we've received about 50 responses on the survey. So it's pretty good for, what's been about a week?
What's the goal?
What number?
Yeah, what are you shooting for in terms of responses?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I haven't really set the goal yet, because I don't think we have enough, like, for example, the numbers that we have in terms of card holders, some of them are so old that I'm not sure, I haven't really set that yet, and I should have, but I didn't, and, because I really don't know what data that we have that's
I
accurate.
mean, I know, I was looking at the census stuff today for another reason,
Yeah,
and off the top of my head, I don't know if it's like 2,300 households or 2,500 households
yeah.
in the town, so
I was told
I
about
would
3
think
grand,
about
yeah.
the
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Right.
would that be like the max? Obviously, you're not gonna get every household to.
Right. I think
Respond.
Leslie,
Everyone takes 100.
Leslie, what's her name, Norton?
Norton.
I think she wanted to see what the initial influx was gonna be right away, and then kind of gauge, as time went on, how many, she could kind of come up to a point where she thinks this is how much we're gonna wind up getting in the end, you know, extrapolating. But the more we're out there, the more that increases. But she didn't come up with an expectation even yet.
Yeah, yeah, so I'm thinking, I mean, at 10%, you might think that's low, but 300 responses is really good.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
would say,
That's what I was, that I,
I'd say anything over 200 would be good.
yeah.
Because they say for every 10 that you send out, you may get one response.
Yeah.
You know, every 10,
Yeah.
if you're lucky.
So, but as long as the board is okay with us looking at the numbers and instead of having a drop dead date, one of the things I'm going to offer up to everyone too is actually just phone calls. So what they would do is call, and Leslie will call them back and take verbally, answer it for them. That we have the meetings coming up. We have someone that will be speaking Spanish also at the meetings. And we have some large events coming up, the Soda Bread. I wanted to at least keep taking the survey or the data till the Pat Roddy concert when we have 500 people here.
And then a survey with a slice of pizza.
You go out, you get
Same thing, celebrate. We should have QR codes everywhere.
You want a second slice? Bring us a filled out survey. We'll grab a neighbor and make them fill it out.
Is it possible to have a couple of iPads at the Soda Bread so that they could do the survey right there?
We don't have.
Do we have Wi-Fi?
iPads, we have internet
Yeah,
there. I
that's
could
not
grab some.
Can you have a
think
QR
we-
code to a Google form?
Yeah.
Someone can just scan it on
We
their
already
phone?
have that.
We have that.
We already have the
Yeah.
QR.
Plaster that everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Plaster that everywhere.
And I figured since you have a captive audience coming up on Thursday, maybe we could just get some to
If
fill
the Boy
out
Scouts
this
to come out, they can put a big,
QR.
banner, a QR code and walk around and do a sandwich with a QR, make people do it, do that.
We will have some attendees that are not probably at Soda Bread that are comfortable with QR, so it would be nice to have maybe Chromebooks there with it set up already to the survey, and just have, what do you think, around the outside where they can do it?
Yeah, we can do that.
Or a painful way of doing a paper survey for people who are uncomfortable with technology, and then
Yeah.
just have staff,
Yeah.
have staff populate it and give them
All
a
right, will do. So, and then any other events, the only thing I want to, for example, the parade wouldn't be appropriate because you have so many
Yeah.
people from outside of town.
Right.
You wanna kind of, if you have any ideas on events that have a good percentage, and maybe, how was it taken at the Women's Club? Lewis?
Well, we had a lot of verbal
Yeah.
input, but again, I wish we had more of those little cards. Remember I was talking about
Okay.
like an input card where people
Okay.
could just quickly, it's just like the size of an index card, just check off, did you enjoy this? Would you come again? What else would you suggest? What other,
Well, those are for the individual event itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
But
you don't
we're
want
not-
that for a strategic plan, though. Yeah, you want it to be more general.
What we could do is like a
Yeah.
future events, we'll
Yeah.
have, because the survey is actually quite simple.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
survey.
we can just print the survey out and just have copies of the survey, fill it out now, turn it in
Right.
now.
Yeah,
They don't have to put the name on it or anything, they don't want to.
right.
Could you put the QR code on the Facebook pages that you have here?
It's already there.
It's,
Yeah.
the QR code is
QR code's
already?
already on there.
Yeah.
It's on the form, it's on the sheet. I can make a bigger version of it, but so it's like really in your face.
How you get people to do things that you face to face them? And you say,
Yeah.
hey, I need your help. Can you do something for me? And they're like, oh, come here. And then they feel like they have to.
Here's a pen.
Don't have a pen, we have 20.
I have a clipboard and a pen.
Don't have to have glasses, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will be the plan, and I'll look into the door and send you a price from the printer. And then we'll start taking volunteers and set up volunteer walk days. Right? What would we do? Would we do it any? day, so we
Do it
just give them the
any day.
street, they can do it whenever they want, it doesn't have to be that we do it all together, we
No.
just give them
Oh,
the
God, no,
streets
I
they're
wouldn't want to do it all
responsible for.
together, you wear
Right.
everyone out.
Yeah, okay, all right. Next, Deb, would you like to?
Sure. The email down, I don't know if anybody got a chance to look at it, just, I passed them out, they're around.
Does everybody
Did
have,
get
does
a
anybody want a
copy?
copy?
Wait, you took mine, babe.
Oh,
Here,
What are those in the middle there? Are those more copies?
yeah, there's more copies.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if everyone down there got one.
Mike, you want one? Got it? Got it.
Everybody's got it? I'll give you a couple of seconds just to look it over, because I don't want to just go over the whole thing with you, but if you have any specific questions, someone sent me questions down.
I didn't send questions, I was mostly some comments.
Oh, okay. It was interesting though, because it piqued my interest too. Were you the one that said about how it compares to?
Yeah, I did wonder about that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting when we talk about how many, one of the questions or comments that came up was like, how many titles do we have in the collection? And how does it compare to, say, Bradley, Avon, you know? Spring Lake I didn't get, but what I found interesting was, I find that the stats that are out there have got to be inaccurate. Ours were inaccurate. So when they say.
When you started here, they were.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Then I-
If you go, there's some website that puts together this information about local libraries, and you look it up and it tells you, they say we have 23,000, which is certainly not true. But they say the same thing about Bradley and Avon. The only one that I would say that I would take is probably legit is Neptune is at about 25,000. That one I know is pretty accurate. But as far as the others, I can't imagine where Avon is putting 25,000. It can't be. So I would guess we're all in a very similar range. At one point, the first time I ran a report just to see what it was at in the system, it came out to over 13,000, which I did not think was accurate at all, because looking around, it just didn't look like we'd fit 13,000. And it was not accurate. There's a lot of books that were lost, a lot of books that were not in the system. So right now, we're down to somewhere in the 9,000 plus range. 10,000 to me is very comfortable in that room upstairs. You can push it, but you're gonna lose. What's great about the library is the space that you want to save. You know, you don't want books smashed. More is not better, you know, less is better in this circumstance. So maintaining it around there, I think, is the best way to handle it. And I think we're better suited to do that, because most of our books are come through a lease program. We lease them, and for us that works, because we're not going to hold books for years and years and years, because there's no room for them. So we can get whatever's new, whatever's popular, whatever we think we need, and then get rid of things that are no longer popular. So that makes sense for us. So, and it's been going well. If you go and you look upstairs, we still have work to do. It's never done. It's like when you're renovating your house, and you're like, oh, we're gonna have a party now because of my house, but no, wait, let me do this first, let me do that first. And a library is never done anyway. It's a constant evolving thing. So, but we're in a good place. We're in a really good place. And if you got a chance to look, the 2 areas of concentration were to create a Spanish bilingual collection, which we've done a lot for. We're probably over close to 500 books now. Some have not come in yet. That was one of the priorities. And the other priority was just like a pet project of mine, a college and career section where intended for kids, you know, 8th grade, high school, but adults look at that as well. Test prep, things like that. So those were the 2 areas that I spent a lot of time and effort on, and they're coming along. So now we have to do another shift because we need more room. But the room, we had some extra shelving put in, which is great, because the more the better. But it's in a good place, I think, right now.
That's great.
And we were talking about having, scheduling some open houses for sometime next month, finalize a couple of dates, just maybe an afternoon, maybe an evening, maybe an after-school, weekend, depending on how we work it out, where parents could come in with their children, adults could come in, we could just kind of show them where things are at, what's new that they may not have seen before, and I think that would be a good thing, especially to kind of introduce the Spanish section, which has really been pretty popular with adults as well. It's intended for kids, but most of the books are literally bilingual. They are in English and Spanish. Some of them are really, they're called upside downs. You read the book this way, it's English, you turn it around the other way, and it's Spanish. So we've had some parents who've come in to get those because their children are learning English much more quickly than they are, and so they help each other. So it's been good that way. So I'm happy about that. And related, we have, I introduced in your email, Giselle, who is our intern from the charter school. She's wonderful. She's been so helpful. She has learned so much and done so much, and now she's going to lead a bilingual story time. So we're going to kick that off on April 5th. It's a Friday afternoon. And she's going to work with Joyce, who does, fills in for story time sometimes on Monday and Wednesday. So she and Joyce are going to work together, and they're going to read in English and Spanish, have a little craft, you know, a little activity for them. And we scheduled it purposefully for 12:30 in the afternoon, figuring the parents who have kids to pick up at 2 o'clock, the pre-Ks, they can come here first, and then go over to school and pick up the kids.
April 5th, I believe we're closed. The school is
Yeah,
closed that
school's
week.
closed, we
Right.
saw that,
Oh, yeah.
but we decided not to change it to give it a slower rollout. Whoever's around, who's not away for the Easter break, or
Sure.
who's just home, whoever's around will come, and then starting the next week, it'll be for the parents that are picking up kids at school. Yeah, we set the date first and then realized school's closed, but you said, you know what, let's keep it, and we'll see how we do with it.
Well, you might get a good sense of if people are bringing their pre-K kids
Yes,
to that. And then you might, and then see what the attendance looks like
yes,
moving forward, and if that means you need to move it to 2:30,
right, that's
Or
what I
2:20,
figured, we could kind of
because
slow roll it.
those people were really interested,
Yep.
figure it out.
We've had a couple of Spanish-speaking families who stopped by and had the flyer in their hand, so there is interest out there.
Good.
And so I think it'll be a fun thing. And Giselle's great, she's very sweet, and she's looking forward, she's very excited. She comes in now and she's preparing what she did. I said, listen, figure out what you want to read, and then we'll take it from there. So what she's doing is she's sitting, pulling the books that she wants to use, and matching up a craft, that kind of, like a first one, I think we have The Very Hungry Caterpillar in Spanish. And so they're gonna make caterpillars, you know, so she's trying to match something to go with each book that she's choosing. And we're also hoping, we want it really to be bilingual, we want the English-speaking kids as well, so that they can kind of learn from each other, and I think it would be a lot of fun, I think it'll be good. But that's the latest. I don't know if anybody had any other questions about what was on there. There was the part about the books that we have. We still have to come to some kind of decision about those rare books, because if they stay the way they are, they won't be valuable anymore. You know, we don't have the right way to maintain them.
Do you want us to, there's probably an organization, right? Do you want us to bring to you what we could get for the books and then you decide, or would that be, so then you have a decision based on the money, and then maybe, I don't know who could be honest with us, you know, how long you wait and how it depreciates, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think, is there an organization? that
There's a
we could-
couple that we could look into, and the question is, even sending them somewhere could be an issue. Because some of them are really, they're almost to the point where, you know, you go like this and then the pages just crumble. And there are a couple that are older that everybody decided, we're not getting rid of these are staying, you know, because they're just classic books, a couple of children's books that we'll keep. But the really older ones, we should find out what we can do with them.
maybe there's an organization that comes to us so we don't have to ship.
That might be it, like an antique roadshow
Yeah.
type thing,
Mm.
yeah, okay, we'll look into that.
So is that, board like that idea? Okay.
Could we start out with a list of the titles, just a sentence or two about their significance? So that we
Copyright
can
date.
educate
Yeah.
ourselves regarding the content. I think it's more of finding a better home for the asset than it is a revenue driver.
Right,
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 right.
absolutely.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, maybe there's an opportunity to, you know, if there needs to be a little bit of money invested in keeping those older books that we really love, that the sale of these books helps to make sure that these are in good shape, and if they need to be looked at by somebody,
Interesting, yeah,
or if you wanna have a case, that,
with some kind of case.
I don't know, you know, maybe there's an opportunity there to, you know.
The Historical Society also has information on how best to protect.
Well, they took a bunch of books from, we sent them a list, and they actually came and took some and looked through them and kept some for their archive.
Not the ones that we
And,
do.
And do they
nothing,
have a way to preserve things there?
I didn't even ask, but they seemed like they knew what they were doing with them.
Mm.
And Rutgers took a few.
You seem to remember a couple feet of water in that building during Hurricane Sandy.
But, yeah, so I guess that's it, unless anybody has any specific questions they want me to address.
Could you quickly share the story about the book that got returned?
Oh, that was great. That was, Donna was working and the mail came, and there in the book was a copy of Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, which was a great book, by the way, if you haven't read it. And then it inspires you to go to Savannah, so don't read it unless you're ready to go to Savannah. But it comes back, we open it up, and she's reading the thing, and the book's been gone for 25 years. And it came from Spain, okay? So Donna took a real interest in this book, and she contacted the person who sent it, and got back this very lovely letter where he was explaining that he worked here as an intern when he was in high school, with foreign exchange, where they would come down and they would get them jobs, and they would work here for the summers. And he used to love to come to the library to sit and read the books to help him with his English. And he took out this book, and then the job ended here in Belmar, and they sent him, I think it was to Great Adventure or somewhere else, and he still had the book. And then he went through, I'm telling you, it was a long, beautiful letter, everywhere that book had been with him across Europe. And one day, he was moving again, and he found the book, and he said, I'm going to send it back. So he did. So we thought it was such a great story that we all decided we were going to send it back to him and let him keep it as a memory of his time here. So Donna got the address and everything and wrote him back another note that we were so enamored by his story that we wanted him to have the book. So we just sent
Y'all are no
it
fun.
back.
That should have been sent back like a $35,000 fine.
That's what I asked for.
That would have been fun.
Now he's saying, oh, God, I tried to get rid of this house.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I'm telling you, but I said it should be a movie. This is like a Lifetime or a
Well, it
Hallmark
was written
movie,
up.
Right?
It got written
It
up.
got
Yeah,
written up in the paper,
that's
they
what I
interviewed
thought.
Donna.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of
And,
like the Sisters of the Traveling Pants.
Yeah, that's right, exactly, but what a story, it was really, really very heartwarming, so we enjoyed that.
Any questions for Deb? Okay, Louis, you're on program.
Okay, everyone got my roster that I sent out? Have you had a chance to look at it? Everyone's missing one? Give you a copy also. Okay, so the roster I sent out is an entire list of all the planned events that we have for this year. Okay, there's a whole bunch of them, as you can see. And they also include roughly which months they're gonna be in and the estimated costs for them all. Now that includes all these, the summer concert series, the live animal series, all our author times and other events that we had, including the living history presentations that we did this past month or so. Also includes all our cultural events as well. So far this year, anything you see in red has already occurred. Just about all of our events have gone off very well. The living history series has been very, very popular and very well received. We've had 4 events, and each one of them packed this room down here of about 40 people each time. And each time at the end, there was a lot of great feedback from the attendees on how much they really enjoyed it. To the point where I'm considering for next year, when we have these again, we'll probably move them to this Taylor Pavilion, because it was getting kind of tight in here. So,
I will just put in my 2 cents that I did attend one of them. The woman that did Harriet Tubman, she spoke for 65 minutes straight, no script, anything, did a couple little costume changes in front of us, changed her voice for every single character. It was amazing. Like, and she does 6 other characters. She does Bessie Coleman, she does Madam C.J. Walker. So I was just like, we gotta get more of these, because it was just wonderful. It really, really was.
yeah, everyone has told me that they really enjoy interacting with the characters, as if they were really the people they were impersonating, you know? Yeah.
And they stayed and did Q&As afterwards,
Mhm.
which was, so she was here an hour and a half. Everyone, I don't know, I think 3 out of the 4 have traveled through bad weather. No, I felt
Yes.
so badly. One came in snow, she came in the pouring rain,
Yeah.
and I don't remember what the other gentleman came.
Martin Luther King came by train, and one of the patrons was concerned whether they would figure out how to get here from the
From
train
point A to
station.
point B.
So she left with her grandchildren, went and met the guy at the train station and walked him down here to make sure he got here on time, which is really, really good. And he was the Martin Luther King guy, and he told me that he told the group that one of the challenges he faces is that many people start asking him questions as if he's Martin Luther King, and how Martin Luther King would handle the problems they're dealing with right now. Yeah. So that's how well they did in terms of portraying their characters.
Stayed in character.
Teddy Roosevelt was very good too, I have to say. I really enjoyed seeing him. So we're definitely looking forward to having him again. I'll have probably a different mix of characters. We do have one more living history character coming in in April for National Poetry Month. That'll be Edgar Allan Poe. So I'm looking forward to having him too. I'm a bit of a Poe fan myself. So we have coming up the Irish Celebration and Soda Bread Contest. As of now, the standard white category is closed out at 20 contestants. And we have 14 contestants in the brown bread category. Hopefully a couple more by the time registration closes out at 7 o'clock tonight. We have 4 judges lined up for them. We have Chris Brandel, we have Kate Heath of Sweet Teas, we have Robin, and I forgot her last name, but of Robin's Nest, and we got Terrence McGill of Hogitos will be the judges for the events. And I have the trophies are sitting over there in the box, ready to go, and the rest of the prizes will be here soon. And then we have the Round the House Band going to be performing for us, and as well as the step dancers from the Darcy School of Irish Dance and Wall. And they'll have like 15 to 20 dancers, so they always come and do a great show for us as well. Okay. We have we're going to be suffering a bit of embarrassment of riches when it comes to authors for Author Time. Partly because we're hosting this local author book fair in April at Taylor Pavilion, where 30 authors from the region will be presenting their books, and people can come and meet them, and they can buy their books there. It'll be at Taylor Pavilion. But a lot of those authors will be having their individual author times here at the library, and we'll be scheduling about like 2 author times a month. The next 2 coming up, we have Mike Farraher, perfect for St. Patrick's Day, because his books are like 50 Shades of Green and This Is Your Brain on Shamrocks.
Mike's eyes went like this.
He's a humorist and talks about what it's like to be Irish in America. Irish, Catholic, and guilty is what he's talking about, which is going to be good. And then we have a really wonderful one coming up, Zach Levy. He'll be a little later on this month. He is a young high school senior who, during his junior year, spent a year going from food pantries to homeless shelters, learning all about what it is to be homeless in America. And he wrote a book outlining what he's found, what he experienced, and he's going to come talk about his book and talk about what makes someone homeless. And he's going to go beyond just the last straw that broke the camel's back, the sentiment of homelessness. He'll actually be talking about how they grew up, what factors in their lives set them on a path to ending up homeless at some point. And apparently there is something to that aspect of it, so he's gonna be talking about that. So I'm really excited about that. He's very excited to do this too, as you can see. So that's coming up this month right there. I wanted to share with you, as I was in preparing for the annual survey, I do have a couple of numbers for you for programs last year. Last year, total programming, including all children's events, all exercise classes, everything, we had a total of 466 programs. And that was an increase of 129 from the previous year to that. Total attendance across all programs was 10,427. That was an increase of 7,100 people, because the previous year we only had 3,300. So the huge increase in exercise classes is what's driven the bulk of that. Plus story time has also increased its attendance quite a bit also. So basically, to break that down really, 365 of those events were here at the library, only 96 were at Taylor Pavilion. 3,800 people attended the library events, while 2,700 went to Taylor. That's roughly what the top line numbers for attendance, program attendance stuff last year was. As you can see, we have a great roster of events coming up. I'm looking forward to really see a great lineup of these programs. Does anybody have any questions or suggestions, ideas?
You send me those figures?
Yes.
Can I get one, Melissa?
Sure.
Thank you.
Here you go.
With the classes that we have taking place at the pavilion, could we have some of the postcards, or are they there already?
I've already been given, I've been on Tuesdays and Fridays, but you know what, you're right, I'll talk to Barry, I'll get that started tomorrow with everyone. It's pretty common in terms of the people that come Tuesdays
Right,
and Wednesdays.
I know a
But
lot of the
chair
seniors.
yoga is, on one day is like 60-some people there.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot that don't come to even Healthy Steps, so I'll get on that.
And if they wanna take one for a friend that comes
Yes,
or whatever,
yep.
that can.
Absolutely, and that's definitely one of the messages we wanted to, like I say, to ask people, to invite them, to tell their friends, and especially people who don't use a library.
Right, no, I'm just talking about the strategic plan paper.
Yes.
That is
Well,
what we
yeah,
survey.
yeah, yeah.
That's what
Yep,
I'm trying to get at.
Yep, got it.
We know they're coming for the classes.
Oh, yeah.
We know they're coming.
Yeah.
Just gotta get those papers out.
Yeah, we increased the strength and balance class that was Tuesday afternoons. Now it's Friday afternoons also, but it won't happen every Friday, because if there's some type of event on the weekend, we have to get out of there by 11 o'clock for things to get set up. But so now Tuesdays and Fridays, if you ever want to come down and visit me, I'm there from like 9:30 to 1. So, but they're very happy with not having to pay the residents, and the quality of our instructors. I gotta tell you, they really are top notch if you come to the classes. So
That's also been a common theme from a lot of comments to me, is that they're very happy with the quality of the program so far. The instructors, the actors, the people holding the Medicare class, that Medicare information classes, has been doing very good. And story time, very, very well received with story time. The parents are absolutely loving it. The bubbles are a killer. The kids just love the bubbles, you know. But yeah, I think one of the things I hope that will show in the results of the survey is that they really like the quality of the programs we're putting out.
And you have a new one that started on Thursday, the knitting and crocheting.
Yes, knitting and crochet is back. Yes, we have another instructor for that, and we had a nice start. 7 new people in there, so which is
I was
great.
there.
Yeah, you were there, you saw it. Sewing is going pretty good so far. That's been a steady, if smaller group, but a steady group. And that kind of fluctuates. Some days I come in and there's like 5 or 6 of them, and other days are 3 or 4. It depends. But it's steady. We've supported them pretty good. They have everything they need to do what they got to do, and they're happy to. So.
Okay. Any questions for Louis? All right, thank you.
All right, I have just a couple of things to bring up. I'm still in contact with Natalie Gallagher, because I wanted to get the wording for the memorial plaque. So I spoke with her today, and actually texted her today, and she's still working on it, so I told her less words are important, meaningful words, but it only has so many spaces to put in, so she knows that. If by chance you could give me an idea, Louis, I know you did Sharon's plaque out there, did they usually tell you how many characters it could have? In terms of what can go on a plaque?
Well, it depends on the size of the plaque, but I think that's variable, so whatever we want, really.
Well, I
They
think we
can
should probably keep
introduce
it around the
us-
same.
Yeah, we'll keep it around the same, that'll be fine.
All right, I'll look at
Yeah,
the
just so I
plaque we
can-
have, I'll bring it over to, what's the name? Kiefer,
Yeah.
and say how many words, how many.
Yeah, how many
and then
characters
get
can it
back
have,
to you.
just so I can have her, when
Yep.
she's working on the
Okay.
wording, okay? I thought of this today after Dave and I were looking at the plexiglass on the outside of the window there that was flapping in the wind, we were like, oh no.
Well, it shattered, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it was shortly after we had talked about it,
Yeah,
so I was like, oh gosh, well, I'm glad that no one got hurt, that's the best part. But I'm wondering if we could share the calendar that you have of upcoming events with DPW, like I know you usually tell them in advance when we're having like Pat Roddy on the outside or something. But if maybe they saw it for the entire year, would that be more helpful for them to know which days they need to have something done?
So the
that we're not-
calendar to Billy.
Yeah,
is what
just,
you're saying.
just I think it
Okay.
could be helpful for him, or them, I should say.
Okay.
We've done that in the past, but you know what, I'll make sure that happens.
I was just thinking, it's a nice way of everyone
It's
communicating.
just that not all these events have been populated on the calendar, because not all the dates have been set
Right,
yet.
right, right. And there's
So-
some things that you don't need
Right.
exterior work on. We
Right.
need,
Right.
we already have the dates pretty
Well,
much
we
for
can
band.
get him access
The
to
bands.
view the
Yeah.
calendar, so he can view it as it's updated, he can just look at it every time.
That way they're not saying, oh, you're just telling me now.
Mhm.
Say, no, I told you back in March. You know? And I guess we just talked about this already. Since we know that we're gonna have a large group at the Irish Soda event, and I know I had mentioned that maybe we could just have some small little input cards as to a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever's gonna be the easiest way for us to know, do we continue? Now, I know
Does it-
Celebrate is definite,
Yeah, but if someone gives us a good idea to make it better, that's all. So you're
absolutely.
talking like, that's gonna be event-specific cards.
I think they could be general. You just hand them out for and then maybe code them at the top, maybe different colors, like, okay, green for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, okay, like
Just so
green
that you know
text,
that,
or like, yeah.
right, so that you
yeah.
know that that's the one that's generated for this particular one.
Yeah, sure.
And then if it's maybe the historical ones, they could have, I don't know, antiquated old paper, But something so that you know,
Event feedback cards.
event feedback, exactly.
Is there any way that we could wait though until we're done with the strategic plan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
worried if we ask for too much.
No,
So
no,
we
no,
really
we
wanna
want
push
the
the
strategic
strategic
plan
plan,
is-
and then once that's done, then we'll
Yep.
have that for each event.
Alright, so I'll have to go crazy trying to get this done by.
No, we just have to have the QR stuff and everything
It's like
ready for
enough going on.
Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday, it is.
And the sheets, and we're just gonna walk around and vote people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's it.
yeah.
Anything, I guess we can open up to.
Well, I have the.
Oh, treasurer's report.
I have the,
skipped. I'm sorry.
well, I missed the January meeting, so I have the December numbers. And then, I have the January numbers, I just don't have February numbers, cause,
She was out.
Lorraine is out.
She was
Yeah.
out, yes.
So
Yep.
as soon as she comes back, I'll have them. So if you want, do you want me to share the
Yeah, we might as
December
well see
and,
how the year ended and
in
then,
January? Okay, so in December, our budget amount was $786,808.20. Spent to date was $493,258.15. Waiting to pay the vendor was $32,101.61. So between the spent to date and waiting to pay the vendor was a total of $525,359.76, which left us a balance of the budget of $261,448.44. So that was December. And then January, we're working on a temporary budget.
Correct.
So the number is low. So our budget amount is $482,250. Spent to date was $37,769.45.
waiting to pay the vendor is $13,956.70, which brings a total of $51,726.15, which the budget would, then the balance of it is $430,523.85.
And that's a partial budget again, there's a lot more actually, yeah.
And that's based on the estimated, yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else, public?
We want to do new business, old business?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
all business.
some general question on the budget. We talk about the budget specifically based just on the mill, and we project our operating costs over the next year. Do we feel as though we would have enough capacity to absorb the entire window budget, the entire window contract within our 2024 mill budget?
Yes.
Yes, we put it in reserve, right? Yes, we put- Wasn't a large amount put in reserve?
Yes,
That
there
was-
was.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, that's
Yep.
fine.
Mhm.
Yep.
But
My
what he's
intent would be
asking,
there
would
just
it be
then.
able to be covered
Covered.
within the budget,
Gotcha.
right? It's very similar, we had 260 left, and we're thinking about 230, right, for the windows, and it's gonna be, we actually have an increase in our budget amount of about 80,000 that goes up because of the mill, so, it's probably, the spending will be similar, but we'll be spending that 230.
All right.
Did you?
New business, okay, new business.
Just for food for thought, we have our financial statement has to be done in April, so that
April
everybody
15th,
knows.
yeah.
April, it has to be
Yeah.
done for the borough as members of the board, so
Right.
just for future reference.
Yeah,
Everybody
so
knows we have to
April.
do our
Ask her to
financial.
send out a
It
little,
hasn't
yeah.
been sent out yet, though?
No.
April
No, no,
10th,
no, no,
say.
I'm just saying, we'll probably have our meeting prior to, you know,
Right,
even
yeah,
April gets it out, you know.
And April 15th is a Monday, just in case you needed to know that ahead of time.
I thought it was due usually by the end of April, wasn't it?
Oh, I might be thinking tax day.
Yeah.
Usually by
Sorry.
April 30th, April
Yes,
has to
yes,
have
by the end
that,
of April, yes, you're
you
right.
know, all that from
Sure.
all the boards and stuff. Yeah.
Right. And also, please continue to put in some professional hours. So I don't have anything for this year. I did send last year's to Dave, so,
And I just entered that into the annual survey.
perfect, thank you.
Could I bring something up in new business?
Mhm.
So normally at this meeting, we usually wait until the increase for the town and see what the town gets. And Jerry, if I'm correct, it was about 2% for the employees, 2%.
I think per contract, it's around there.
So average when you consider everyone, and so I'm asking the board if you would consider that as an increase for our staff, at 2% across the board. Most of our new employees started about $20 per hour, and the library assistants that have been here for some of them 10 years are about $22, and what we always do is we go by the document by the New Jersey Library Association, which kind of says the lowest amount that you should offer, and that's that you base that on mine as well, and on librarian for Deb as well, and usually it's anywhere from 2 to 4%. It was higher in terms of their recommendation, but I'm making a recommendation based upon what the town did instead of that organization. So I'm just asking, I don't know if you want to have a discussion, if you need any more data, I could bring it to the next meeting, but I'm just asking, normally, 2%, because that's what the average was for the other employees.
I have a question.
Just-
Are there reviews done, as far as, I know there's increases, but are we doing any type of annual reviews for all
And basing
employees?
their percentage on that? No, I haven't done that, in terms of giving different percentages to different people based on their evaluation.
The 2% is fine, but I'm saying as far as, are we doing reviews annually? Has anybody been reviewed? I don't think anybody has, I
No.
think, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
not for
something.
this year,
Yeah.
yeah. So I can come back, that's something that hasn't been done in, you know, in a long time, yeah. In fact, I couldn't find, even, you know, data from that, but that's something I can, you know, make sure that I can give to you for the previous year. Did you wanna make the percentages based upon their evaluations, or, I don't think the town does that, yeah.
I think it's more establishing a more formalized HR program within the organization. And I think Johanna brought it up now, but I don't think your intent is to tie it to compensation at this time. But nonetheless, when we talk about compensation, we talk about people continuing to be productive members of the organization. And we should move toward affording them feedback as to whether or not we feel that they're being productive, or whether or not they feel that they're being productive.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be just, you know, every year it's 2%, regardless, I mean, you know, because if you're reviewing people, they may not get the 2%, or whatever percentage, you know, I mean, because you want to make sure that people are performing at, you know, a standard level or above standard level, and not below standard. I don't think we have anybody like that, but there should be, we need to put those systems in place and going forward. You know, so like for next year, we should have reviews.
Well, I'll, actually, you know, there's no reason why at the next meeting I can't give a form to you in terms of, it's something I did look into, and most of the libraries did not have that, or they were very general, the evaluation system, almost, you know, so what I'll do is I'll modify what I researched and bring it to you at the next meeting, and you can vote on it in terms of, you know, this is the form that will be used.
And I think Leslie had a form that she used when she was in Brielle, because I remember her telling me an instance where, you know, there was a question and they weren't sure how to proceed, but once they looked at, here's the checklist of what should be done, and if it's not done, then these are the options.
Okay, I'll have it for you at the next meeting.
I don't think the nature of the staff responsibility is that the questions would be very general in nature, you know? And also, I would personally envision it more as a tool of engagement, you know, to make sure everyone's on the same
Discussion
page.
with the employee,
Supervisor,
yeah.
direct report, dialogue going, to see that we're on the same page, so that animosity doesn't build up on one side or the other if someone's not performing, or if someone's not satisfied with the direction they're getting, or things along those lines. I wouldn't imagine it would be a very driving or pressing type of engagement,
Yep.
because, quite frankly, the demands of the job, the nature of the job, I don't think would really require that.
And
Will
also
do.
the hierarchy of how the staff is set up, you know, you've got this person at the top, these people fall under, you know, it just makes it easy so that no one questions it, like,
Yeah.
you know, who does this?
Yeah.
Why do I have to do that if that's, yeah.
Basically, if everyone is upfront with each other and we're good communication over time, nothing in that review should be a surprise to anybody.
Absolutely.
There's always surprises.
Absolutely.
There's always surprises.
Mr. Shepard's not allowed to do that. No evaluations.
Your employee stuff goes through RHR, right?
Yes,
Or
yeah,
HR?
I have to meet,
So we
I have to
would-
meet
we would
with, yep,
Talk to,
Margaret and
Margaret.
Kevin, yeah, I was at the
I
department
wouldn't
head.
hold up to 2% based on the
No,
performance.
Yeah.
Going forward, plus, you know, usually with the performance reviews, the biggest thing is attendance. You know, in terms of, and, you know, you have to deal with that on an ongoing basis. You don't want to wait until the end of the, you know, review.
Attendance
But,
is what I do.
you know, it's a good thing to have, but,
Yeah,
you know, again, you have a small group, so it wouldn't be a big problem to do it.
Yep.
It's a nice idea, but I would talk to Margaret about that.
yes, actually, I've,
You know,
yeah, I've already created, she sent me the document, we already said, that was the document I showed you, Deb, yeah, that we have to create in terms of job descriptions for the, really 3 positions, 4 positions, including David. So am I getting from you that you're okay if someone could do a resolution for the 2%, and then next meeting I'll have the evaluation, is that, or do you wanna wait, or?
Dave, I had a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
Has the library historically provided an increment each year over the last several years?
No, it was frozen for
So
a
it was frozen, it
while.
was frozen for a long period, and then I recall last year you had made recommendation to bring the rates into closer parity with the guidance from the state board.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that was, for lack of a better term, perhaps a correction,
Yes,
so that it should be in parity with what is appropriate.
yes,
So this would be kind of a new starting increment going up and forward.
correct.
But I'll say the frozen increments over the past years were theoretically corrected by adjustments last year.
Mostly,
Theoretically.
yeah, right, yes. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I might mention this after the meeting, okay, so I'll hold on.
Okay.
So we have to make a resolution.
If anyone would like to make a resolution for a 2%
Make a motion.
increase.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2% for staff employees for Belmar Library.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Unanimous.
No, you're still under old business.
Oh,
No, you can go.
no,
Yeah.
I'm done with new business, I'm sorry. This is your meeting, not mine, I'm sorry.
We're all good, we're all good, we're all good. Bruce, did you want to bring something up?
New business?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to make the next meeting. I already know ahead of time, I have a fire department commitment. I have to go take a test, so I know I won't make that meeting, and I know it's on the 8th, so,
It's.
April 8th.
Yeah, I think it is April 8th, yeah,
Yeah, we have to
and I
do
know
our
I'm
yearly,
gonna be out of that meeting as well.
I'm not,
I already spoke to Mike about it,
Do you wanna?
so I wanna just make sure we're gonna have a
Couple
quorum.
people.
Yeah, 'cause
Do you
I'll
wanna
be out of
change that
meeting
date, or
also.
do you wanna still go with the 8th?
Well, let's just see.
What's the consensus of the
Can we just
board?
have a
Sounds like change
verbal?
the date. It sounds like we should probably change the date.
Yeah, with 3 of us already not able to make it.
You want to?
So you either go with the 1st or the 15th?
First is.
April Fools.
Yeah, April Fools, everyone.
Oh, that's the day that
That's
Dave's
the
gonna
day
tell
of
us
the
his
of the
windows.
windows. That's the day. We might all be here anyway, standing outside, taking a video of the windows coming in.
What about the
I think
15th?
Louis has got that covered.
Yeah.
That works.
Is anybody gonna be last minute doing their taxes?
Hopefully not. And the 15th, I mean,
We
It
did
is
talk
tax
about
day.
doing every other month, would that be something that you wanna
well, I
do?
think with the windows coming, it's an important month. I wanna be here.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if there's an opportunity, I think this would be the one where we give it a trial, and then if we're overwhelmed in our May meeting and saying, hey, this is too much on one agenda.
Yeah, we missed
February.
February,
Right.
it really didn't affect, there's just so many things that,
Come up.
need to be, well, no, that don't need to be approved,
Right.
But it's up to you, you've always had them every month. If there's something like, for example, that we needed to have voted on for the increase, I can't just do that, then I would tell you, but I don't see anything for April. But if you want to have a meeting, because you wanna, maybe something with the windows, I'm hoping they're.
I don't think that
Yeah.
requires a meeting. I think it's just, who wants to show up, and we're all out there looking at it, but,
But they're
I
they're
don't-
not gonna be here
My
anyway.
hopes are
No,
not.
no. It's gonna be in May that they're actually
They might be in a yard somewhere. Somewhere.
If Pat Roddy brings a couple guys to lift the amps, maybe we can help us move the windows into position.
Stand on the
If
amps.
they're not quite in yet.
I just wanna take a peek.
Just construction over the last couple of years has been very difficult to line up, and there's always delays. That's an understatement. So,
Do you need to make a change in the bylaws? If you're gonna go just bi-monthly, would you have to change anything in the bylaws?
If we did that continuously, we
I don't
only,
think
we
the
only
by-
did it once so far.
About the bylaws say monthly?
No, I think we had it as a 10-month, did we, Casey?
Believe, yes, correct, and we didn't meet in July and August.
Right, so I think we had,
Monthly up till
Yeah.
What they'll say monthly.
So you're really not supposed to miss two in a, I know you've done it forever, but you're really not supposed to miss 2 in a row.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something, it would be better to go every other, and maybe add some in there rather than miss 2 in a row. That's
Oh, yeah.
something in
Wow.
terms of, again, it's always happened and no one's gonna
Yeah, I've
complain
checked with a
about
lot
it,
of
but you're
libraries that
supposed to
don't meet
just
in
have
this
every other, so during the summer, you
Every
really
summer.
should have a May and a July or a, you know.
We're just gonna have it at Pat Roddy's.
Yeah.
It's a summer, we're here,
Yeah, there you go.
meeting, okay.
So what is it
we're
gonna
all
say?
here.
We'll probably have a quorum that day, we'll probably have a
Oh,
quorum.
because there's gonna be food served, so there will be.
Yeah, he'll be here.
No.
Okay.
So what do we, consensus
So,
on the
well,
April?
let's, any more talk? I
You're
mean,
not
do
gonna be
we,
here, right?
I'm not gonna
I'm
be
not
here,
gonna
you're not gonna be
Mike,
here.
you
I'm
said,
not gonna be
I'll be
here.
around.
I'm sorry,
You'll be here.
I won't be
you
here.
won't be here. So what's the consensus,
So we have
what people?
1, 2, Jimmy,
Yes.
Jimmy in or out?
It's
Daniel?
the 8th,
I
we're
know
moving
the
it to the
15th,
15th.
I'm
Oh,
definitely
8th of
out
April.
because I have a wellness event in the county.
All right. How's the
What day else?
15th look for more people then?
Well, I have a planning board, but
You have a
Maria can
planning
come.
Maria will be back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we wanna,
So
do
15.
we wanna move it to the 15th? Is that the majority?
That's fine.
Sure.
6 o'clock, April 15th?
April 15th, 6 o'clock.
Tax day.
And you
Tax
still
day.
have time to get there before, what, 12 o'clock on the 15th?
So the only, when we change the meeting, yeah, we'll have to,
You have
we
to
have to put that in the
notify.
paper.
Yeah.
I'll get that notices out.
Oh, I'll say, no, maybe she can make it.
6
Yes.
o'clock?
Yeah,
Yes, 6 o'clock.
I like 6.
Yes.
6
Yeah.
is very
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
6 is beautiful.
All right, great. It's still light out a little
Yeah.
bit.
I know.
It's gonna be
I
warm.
missed the sunset, but it's okay. It's all right. All right, any other business to be brought up? New, old, public? All right, anyone wanna make a motion?
Motion. Adjournment.
All right, all in favor?
Uh,
See you on the 15th. Not before. Look at that, 1 hour, 7 minutes.
Take a picture.